All right, so the next section is diet and water. Now, arguably, diet is probably the most important part of a nutritional balancing program. Dr. Wilson focuses in on the diet a lot, and often his article is constantly updated with new dietary changes. Now, when people first begin a nutritional balancing program, it can be very, very overwhelming to start a new diet. Usually people have come from a westernized diet background, and all of a sudden they get bombarded by all of these vegetables, proteins, meats, not eating fruit, and it kind of can get a little bit overwhelming. But we're here to tell you that it's actually not as bad as what you think. So what I would say to people when they're getting started is, first off, buy a pressure cooker, which we're going to talk about later on in this specific section. The pressure cooker is a godsend when it comes to the nutritional balancing program. Now, what you want to be doing is you want to be writing down all of the vegetables that Dr. Wilson recommends on his articles. He has a section on preferred daily vegetables. He has a section on occasional vegetables, and he has a section on forbidden foods. So you want to be writing down the preferred vegetables, the daily vegetables, and the occasional vegetables. And what you want to be doing is going to the shops, going to your local organic. You know, in England, we've got a shop which is called Waitrose, which is great. You can get all of the stuff from there. And you want to be writing down a list of things that you need to get from your local grocery shops. So you want all your vegetables, your protein, salt, blue corn chips, and anything else that's on the articles. Now, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to chop up all your vegetables in the morning, and you can put these in an instant pot. And then you've got the vegetables throughout the day, morning, afternoon, and evening. Then you just need to add a little bit of protein and usually a little bit of salt. And that's something that's all written in the articles on Dr. Wilson's website. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Susan, really, on transitioning.
No, I think that's about it. Yeah, the one thing, it sort of lends itself to go to the next bullet point that we wanted to talk about was the daily preferred foods. Definitely it should be the focus. So you've talked a lot about the veggies and the protein were definitely sort of the mainstays of the program and important to focus on first. I find that if people are having difficulty transitioning from their old way of eating to the new way, like some people can just go, I'm just switching. And other people find that a little bit more challenging. And so what I like to recommend is to, first of all, just get your cooked veggies in with every single meal. Like if you just focus on that, first of all, that's really the most important thing. The other thing that I find is that if people are eating just vegetables and protein, which again, great to start with, over time I'll hear from people, I can't look at another vegetable. Yeah. So one of the things that I like to recommend is Dr. Wilson has a great article on toppings. And so adding different toppings, especially if you have kids, that can really be helpful in keeping things, the flavor a little bit different. Like sometimes when people are on their own, like I can eat food that's really bland and the same kind of thing and not worry about it. But when you have kids, that sometimes people just focus on the preferred foods. And again, that is okay for a while. They are the preferred foods, but I always encourage people to add in the occasional foods. I think the variety is really wonderful for people, and I think it keeps people motivated on the program longer. So don't forget about those occasional foods and to include them a couple times, 2 to 3 times per week, because they help with the motivation. So
it might take a little bit of time for people to realize what foods work better for them. I remember when I started the program 8 years ago, I used to combine certain vegetables that just didn't taste well at all. So just give yourself a little bit of time to get over some certain hurdles, because you'll realize that some vegetables don't particularly work too well together, or you might not like them, or you might just have to cook them a slightly different way. But you just need to be consistent, and over time you'll learn how to make vegetables really good. I'm sure me and Susan are basically experts now at cooking vegetables. When my friends come around to my house, they all get vegetables and they all say how nice they are, and basically all I do is put vegetables in a pressure cooker, add some salt, maybe add a little oil or butter, but you'll figure out after a while the perfect timings for you. and you'll be surprised how nice they actually are. So don't be too freaked out by the fact that, oh, all you're eating now is vegetables. Usually over time as well, your taste buds will get more sensitive to the vegetables too.
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning, everything might taste a little bit bland. The reasons are is you're so used to this westernized, sugar-riddled diet, and you just need to give a bit of chance for your taste buds to just kick back up again, and the vegetables start tasting really nice. And it might get to a point where you sneak a bit of chocolate in at some point, and you'll realize how overwhelming the chocolate tastes because you've been eating, because you've been eating vegetables for like a prolonged period of time. So don't worry about it too much. It's something that we've all been through, and just kind of ease your way into it, and maybe just focus on the vegetables that you really like in the beginning, until you understand how to cook them optimally.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. One of the things that we've talked about before, Lewis, I think you mentioned earlier, is that in terms of shopping and preparing your vegetables and all of that, if you want to save time, one of the things that I do is chop everything up in the morning. You can cook everything up in the morning and then heat up throughout the day for your meals. So that saves a lot of time. And everybody's a little bit different. Like sometimes I will do my chopping all in the morning, but I won't do my cooking until I actually have the meal. So I don't know, do you do all of your cooking in the morning?
Generally, yeah. It's just easier to do it like that, and then at least in the afternoon you can just go in, scoop a load of vegetables onto the plate, and then you're done and dusted, really. Yeah.
Exactly.
I used to pressure cook like a chicken, or slow cook a chicken, and then I would pick off all the chicken and keep the chicken in the fridge. So when I put on a pile of vegetables in the morning, I would take the chicken out of the fridge, pop them on the vegetables, and by the time I've kind of cleaned up and I'm ready to eat, the vegetables have warmed up the chicken, and you've got like a full meal there. So that's another quick tip if anyone's trying to combine things together, or they're worried about timings and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, it just makes things a little bit easier. And for ideas, if you're struggling with ideas, there is a cookbook that I just put out recently with Dr. Wilson, and you can find it at www.nutritionalbalancingtips.com. So it's an ebook. The recipes are pretty simple. A lot of them are using a pressure cooker, ideas for snacks. Some people don't need the help, like it's pretty basic cooking, but if you're wanting some ideas, that can help as well.
Awesome. So the next thing that we want to talk about is cravings. Now, this is going to be a player in especially the early stages of starting a nutritional balancing program. When you start a new diet, your body is so used to eating the way that you used to eat that it's kind of like dying for this old stuff, dying for sugars, dying for the carbohydrates, and it can get overwhelming sometimes, and people crave various foods. Usually when people have got low adrenal glands and low thyroid glands, the body will crave sugars because it's a way of kind of whipping them into gear. But what I would say to people is I would try and be as consistent as possible with the diet. If you eat 3 big meals a day, cravings tend to be less. People tend to get cravings maybe if they don't eat enough vegetables, or they're eating a lot of vegetables in the morning and then like leaving it hours and hours before they eat some more. Cravings will tend to rise up, and people will fall and eat various different things. Another good tip is to spread meals out throughout the day. So instead of having 3 meals, have 4 meals or 5 smaller meals. That tends to help with cravings, and it also helps a lot with people that really struggle with blood sugar. There was a time in my healing where I had to eat 7 meals per day just to keep my blood sugar in balance. That helped a lot with cravings. In the beginning, if you are craving sugary foods, usually what a good idea is to snack on some protein. So maybe snack on a bit of chicken or a bit of turkey or some blue corn chips. That can help subside cravings. It's much, much better than going to the sugar or going to the cookie jar. A good one is a little bit of chicken with some sea salt. What you'll generally find as the adrenal glands become a bit more healthier, the adrenal glands will probably start to crave salt and meat. So having a little bit of chicken or a little bit of turkey with some salt or with a little bit of butter isn't too bad. There is an article on Dr. Wilson's website which talk about snacks, but I think really what you should be thinking about if you are having a lot of cravings is try spreading out the meals, try having more meals in the day. If it's still a problem, just eat the snacks that we recommend. A little bit of almond butter maybe, some blue corn chips. As Susan says, there's some snack ideas in her cookbook and also on Dr. Wilson's website.
Yeah, perfect. And for anybody that does notice that with cravings or blood sugar, I always say that, you don't want to be eating or not eating for more than about 3.5 to 4 hours. So that stresses the adrenal glands, and that's oftentimes why people will get a blood sugar drop. So, and oftentimes it's sort of mid-afternoon between lunch and dinner that happens for people. So putting in a snack in there is a great idea. And it can stop people from going through that, that nighttime binging, snacking because they haven't had enough food during the day. And chicken is a great idea, or almond butter, where you're having maybe almond butter on some blue corn chips. Those also have a little bit of salt. So combining a little bit of protein, little bit of healthy fat, little bit of salt, and a little bit of carb really, again, sort of keeps things a little bit more stable. Sometimes Dr. Wilson will add in some chromium for people that really do have more serious blood sugar issues, but starting with diet and see if you can manage it that way is always a good idea.
Cool.
We don't really talk a lot about calories on the program. Like I sometimes have people say to me, well, how many calories should I be eating? And it really varies. We really don't talk about that. But generally, if people are having the 3 meals a day and they're having the foods that are recommended on the program, you are going to be getting enough calories. I know that there's sort of a trend now for people to do a bit of intermittent fasting, which we're not keen on, because with the 3 meals per day, that's really what people need to get in that nutrition that they need. And if you're including those occasional foods as well, you should be fine that way. And if there's any concerns about that, you definitely can speak to your practitioner about that.
Awesome. Now, what I want to talk about next is slow and fast oxidation. Now, the diet that Dr. Wilson recommends is basically tailored either to a slow oxidizer or a fast oxidizer. Understanding slow and fast oxidation is so important to understanding the nutritional balancing program. You really, really need to read some of the articles and understand deeply, because it's going to help you so much. Now, the basic premise is slow oxidation is a little bit like slow metabolism. So people in slow oxidation tend to feel like they're in the slow lane of a highway or a motorway if you live in the UK. So basically the body is just sluggish, it's kind of slow, and life just kind of feels like it's going past you really quick. The opposite of that is fast oxidation. So fast oxidizers are in the fast lane and everyone else is going a bit slow around them, but it's not a nice position to be in because you feel super anxious, you feel paranoid. It's really not a nice place to be in. In the beginning, I was very mistaken because I thought the idea was to be a fast oxidizer. And then when I became a fast oxidizer, by doing the program, it was not a nice experience whatsoever. Now, in terms of the program and life in general, life works in terms of balance, yin and yang. And there's a certain balance to everything that is perfect. And it's the same with a human being. So you want to look at it a little bit like a torque in a car. And if you're in the middle lane, if your oxidation is balanced, that's the optimum condition for a human, and it makes you feel really good. You're not feeling slow and depressed and sluggish, and you're not feeling paranoid and hyperactive and anxious. So the diet is basically designed to either speed you up or slow you down. Being in touch with slow and fast oxidation will come in time on the program, and sometimes you can feel your oxidation going up and down, and you can kind of tailor things to suit your needs. That's why it's super important to stay in touch with your practitioner, because they'll be able to tell you and tune into the fact of that you might have gone too fast or you might be going too slow. But in terms of the diet, balancing out slow and fast oxidation is fairly simple. So all you need to worry about is, if you're a fast oxidizer, we will ask you to have extra healthy fats and oils added to your diet. So as well as the nutritional balancing diet, what we tend to say to fast oxidizers is you want to be having extra runny egg yolk, for example, or cream or butter or animal fats. And what that does is it slows down an oxidation rate. For slow oxidizers, they will have the vegetables and they'll also have the proteins, which will have the healthy animal fats in them already generally, and the oils, and that's all they need. But with the fast oxidizers, we want them to have a little bit extra just to slow the system down and make it more balanced.
Right. Okay, that's perfect. Wanted to just touch on weight on the program, weight gain and weight loss. Both can happen on the program. Generally, if people are following the eating plan, weight will normalize. So people that are carrying extra weight, normally they lose that. People that are low weight, normally that comes up and will normalize as well. So there also can be some weight gain or loss on the program that's simply related to metals, releasing toxins and metals being stored and releasing. So I know for myself, if I'm in a place where I'm releasing a lot of metals, sometimes I can gain extra water weight, and it's just water weight that I'll carry around for a bit, and all of a sudden it'll be gone in a day or two, and I haven't changed what I've been eating at all. And so sometimes that's a bit difficult to sort of wrap your head around, but it's just the normal ebb and flow of the program. Again, if there's a concern too much either way, then you'd want to get in touch with your practitioner. Generally, the 3 meals per day works really well, and that means generally for most people, unless you're having an issue with you want to increase your weight or you're having an issue with blood sugar, that usually means no snacking, and people normally get to that further along on the program. And that's where we find that, you know, people who have been really resistant to losing weight, all of a sudden that starts to normalize, along with balancing the oxidation rate and improving the health overall. So that is part of the program that I find is just a natural part of the healing process. And it does normalize out. And again, any concerns, just get in touch with your practitioner. So I don't know if you found that with your clients as well, Lewis, or with yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I do tend to say to people in the beginning, it's important to realize that when you do start a program, it's really overwhelming for the body. The body's trying to figure out so many different things, and it's trying to find a new way of producing energy. That's what's important. It's so used to using carbohydrates and simple sugars as its energy source that all of a sudden it's having to find new ways of picking up energy, and that can be a shock to the system, and people can temporarily lose weight until the body can figure out a new way of living, a new way of being healthy. But yeah, you know, the human body is designed to be lean. I had about an extra stone and a half on me when I first began, and I lost that fairly quick within 2 months or so. And my family and friends have freaked out, like, oh my God, what's going on, Lewis? You're getting unhealthy, you're getting super unwell, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. But they just had to get used to it a little bit. Like, it was a bit of a shock to me. And look, and no one says anything to me now because they're used to seeing Lewis as this size. And I'm sure many people watching me on YouTube channel don't have any issue with my size, and that's the actual lean size for a human body. If you check out my body mass index, it's actually bang on line. You know, with that extra stone and a half, maybe I looked a little bit more bigger physique, you know what I mean? It might have looked a bit nicer aesthetically, but in general, my BMI was actually above ideal. That's what I normally say to people. But I do have a video as well on our YouTube channel that talks about that in more detail if you want to kind of look at that. So just as important as diet is water. Now, I don't know what the percentage is, but they say we're 80–90% made up of water. Water is so important for you to be getting on board. What I generally say to clients is that if you can get up in the morning and drink about 1 liter of warm water in the morning, that gives you the rest of the day to drink the rest of the recommended water. So we recommend people to drink 3 quarts of water, which equates to about 3 liters. Now that can be quite overwhelming for people at first. So I wouldn't worry about sorry, I wouldn't worry about getting 3 litres in straight away. I would just worry about trying to get on as much as possible. As I say, if you drink a litre in the morning, it is actually quite easy to get through 2 litres for the rest of the day. I would say that when you get past about 6, 7 p.m. at night, I would stop drinking water, because you can be up at night going to the toilet, which can get quite frustrating. So in terms of water, a lot of people ask us, well, what's the best water to drink? The best water that we recommend is natural spring water. No surprise that the best water to drink is the water that we were actually designed to drink, and what we've been drinking for millennia, arguably, even when we was chimpanzees. You know, we were drinking good quality spring water because that's the best water for a human being. It gets quite complex in the reasons why. In general, it's because it's just more mineralized. A good idea is to mix up your spring water, so not just drinking the same brand all the way throughout the year. Mixing spring water tends to be quite good because you're getting different mineral levels from different areas. And again, we would have done that as we've evolved, as we would have gone to different areas in our tribes. We would have picked up different waters, and that's why it's the best for us. A lot of people talk about alkaline water, reverse osmosis, distilled water. They're not too good. They tend to be stripped of minerals, as much as all the gurus try and push them. So don't worry about it too much. Just worry about getting good quality spring water. It's the same as mineral water. Sometimes you can look around your area. There's a cool website called findaspring.com, which lists a lot of different springs. They mainly focus on America, but there's definitely a few in the UK. Usually some Facebook groups and stuff. You can ask questions in there if anyone knows any local spring water. But yeah, spring water is the water to drink. And about 3 litres a day if you can do that.
Yeah, and some people ask why spring water. I like to think of it like our food, where you just want the least processed water as possible. And Dr. Wilson has an awesome article on water. It's quite extensive. And so a lot of water that is other water, like even reverse osmosis and all that, it's put through a lot, and it can damage the water. So a lot of, you know, if you can't do spring water, what we say is carbon block, and that's because it's a simple filter and it doesn't damage the water too much. And one other thing wanted to mention about water is, please don't drink with your meals. You want to make sure that it is in between meals. And Lewis, your suggestion of drinking water in the morning is one that I make as well with my clients, because it's on an empty stomach. Warm water starts off the day, you've got a chunk of your water done, and the rest of your water should be in between meals, so you're not diluting the digestive juices while you're eating. So
sometimes people don't realize the importance of water. Some people will kind of skip it or don't do it too much. And honestly, if you drink 2 litres of water, 3 litres of water, you just feel so much more refreshed. It's as if someone's kind of turned an on switch button on your body, where all your cells just kind of come alive. It happened to me a little bit in the beginning of the program. I didn't realize the importance of drinking enough water, and then I finally just got into the routine of doing it, and I just can't believe the difference, how I felt. It was really, really enlightening. So don't kind of put it to one side like a lot of people tend to do.
Exactly. So many symptoms are related just to general dehydration. And the other piece to that is that, you know, especially on this program, it's very important, because as you start to release toxins, the water just, you know, it's another way that the body helps get that out. So yeah, especially important.
Cool. So the last point we wanted to make on this section is cheating on the program. Look, none of us have been angels throughout the program. You're going to slip up. You're gonna cheat. What I would say to people is, don't go out of your way to cheat. Don't do these really weird fad diets where it's like eat well for 6 days and then cheat on the 7th day. Like, that's not the right way to think about cheating. You should not try and cheat if you can. In the beginning of the program, I found, especially if you're more ill, it is so important to try and stick to the program as much as possible. That's, you know, making packed lunch if you need to, eating before you go out with friends, going to restaurants and just asking the waiter, look, can you do me a plate of vegetables? They can do that, no problem. Really, really try your best. But if you do slip up, don't worry about it too much. You know what I mean? Don't freak out about it. You know, obviously it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. You just need to get yourself back on the program. And after a day or two, if it's made you feel bad, you will feel the way you felt before you ate the cheat. What I found is, obviously, you know, I'm 8 years down the line now. My body is way, way more healthy. I don't worry about it I don't freak out about it too much. You know, sometimes if I'm at a friend's place, you know, I'll have a little bit of cake or whatever. It doesn't affect me too much. But definitely in the beginning, I had to be super, super strict about my diet, because one thing that the body has to expend a lot of energy to deal with is blood sugar. And generally when you cheat, it's usually a sugary thing or a carby thing. And when you eat the pizza, or when you eat a big block of cake, the body can take like 6, 7, 8 hours to deal with that influx of blood sugar. Because it's so important to keep the blood sugar balanced as much as possible, the body has to put all its energy into dealing with that cheat, you know. So just be aware of that. Don't freak out about it too much. If you do it, it is going to happen, and I can almost guarantee it. But just get yourself back on the program and you'll be fine after a day or two.
Exactly. And one just additional comment, you know, there are a lot of restaurants that you can get nutritional balancing compatible meals with. Like you said, most restaurants you can get a plate of vegetables, you can get some healthy protein. You know, you can say even at Thai restaurants, you know, just leave the sauce off or whatever. So sometimes I think people can end up going, well, am I never going to be able to go out to eat? Or that, you know, that social part of my life is really important. Again, this is something that you can talk to your practitioner about if you're struggling with that. But there are ways to definitely be social, go out for dinner if that's important to you, and to still be basically on the program. Like it's not as difficult as people may think it is to do that. So yeah.
And don't be ashamed of the diet that you're on. Own the diet, own who you are, own the program, because really it's going to become your best friend. In the beginning it might be a chore, it might be like, oh, I don't want to do this. But it becomes your ally when you know if you eat a good plate of vegetables, you're going to feel good, you're going to feel fresh, you're going to feel inspired. That builds confidence, and actually that starts to seep out to your friends and family. They start to realize, hold on a minute, Lewis is actually doing something really good. And what you'll generally tend to find is your friends will probably might start eating the same way as you. Your family might start getting on board with it, because you lead by example. The more you're kind of fearful, the more you don't want to kind of make people look bad, the more that energy just kind of eats you up a little bit. And it does give an opportunity for people to say things that probably might, you know, not be in your best interests. So I would say really try and own the program, own the diet, and be confident when you go into a restaurant and be like, no, I'm going to eat some good foods. And, you know, you'll generally find that you'll just get way more respect from being in that mindset than being in a mindset of kind of lack or fear.
Exactly. Okay, great. Well, I think that wraps up the section on diet and water. So stay tuned, and we're going to be moving on to supplements in our next segment.